Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again, and welcome to The Roads with Belle. Today is July 6th, 2025, and this is episode 98 of The Roads Not Taken, which is a weekly series where we go over the news that was unreported, underreported, didn't get the coverage we thought it deserved, or we just found it interesting. And then we go through some questions from y'all. Today is July 6th, and it's National Build a Scarecrow Day. I assume that also means I can put out my Halloween decorations. It's less than 120 days away. And on this date in 1945, Nicaragua became the first country to ratify the United Nations Charter. And starting with foreign policy, a North Korean man crossed the border into the South. Anybody who's familiar with the line understands what a feat that was. He somehow successfully avoided the mines and surveillance. Eventually, South Korean officials engaged in a guiding operation to bring the man the rest of the way. We still don't have all the details, but rest assured, this will eventually be a movie. Ethiopia finished building a dam on the Nile. Egypt is super mad. There's a major concern in Cairo that Ethiopia won't release enough water during a drought. This is the type of thing that can sometimes lead to conflict. Trump had a call with Putin, and afterward seemed like he didn't feel like a ceasefire was possible. Putin followed the call by running a massive aerial operation hitting Ukrainian cities. While Trump submits to Putin, European intelligence agencies are alleging widespread use of chemical weapons by Russia. Russia has officially recognized the Taliban government, who came to power after a deal with Trump. Air traffic controllers in France went on strike, creating disruptions all over Europe. In U.S. news, flooding in Texas has left at least 13 dead, with 20 children missing from a girls' camp. I'm hoping that they'll be located before this video goes out. There was reportedly a delay in evacuations due to poor communications among officials. A wildfire in Texas continues to grow, making it the largest fire of the year so far. If only National Guard troops hadn't been pulled off their assignment of fire mitigation for a publicity stunt in LA. The outcome might have been different. A tropical system is likely hitting the Carolinas right now. In cultural news, the Dalai Lama is setting up plans for his reincarnation. This will be a contested issue. Beijing isn't going to be happy about some of his plans. Trump says he didn't know an anti-Semitic term was anti-Semitic when he used it at a speech. It's carried a trope since the days of Shakespeare. The president, who appointed himself chair of the Kennedy Center, doesn't know Shakespeare. In science news, the Inter-American Court has issued an advisory opinion saying that countries and corporations have binding obligations under international law to help prevent climate change. Drought is hitting Montana hard, and it's threatening tourism related to rivers. That's a huge deal for a state that brings in hundreds of millions through fishing. In economic news, the EU has stated they will continue to regulate AI, even as the large companies ask them to pause their schedule. Trump has once again said he's sending letters to countries to inform them of their tariff rates, which might be as high as 70%. In oddities, a fireworks explosion in a home in Southern California leaves multiple homes burned and at least one dead. On to the Q&A. Our first question. Why aren't you talking about the massive ICE increase in budget? Do you have any idea how many people they can put on our streets to stop the elections with $170 billion? No, I don't. But people are confusing immigration funding with ICE operational funding. More than half of that $170 billion is for construction, not operations. There's another almost $50 billion for the wall. I guess Mexico didn't pay for it. Your healthcare did. There's another almost $50 billion for building detention centers. There's $10 billion for customs. There's money for more immigration judges. By the time you're all said and done, ICE is getting less than $30 billion, which is still a massive increase. But considering billions upon billions that are being used for buying new cars and fleet upgrades, it doesn't warrant conspiracy theories. Why don't you think modern monetary theory is something that's feasible? It's one of those things I don't understand. The people who talk about the economy, who make good predictions about what is going to happen, almost universally reject it, but also want it and want what it offers. Can you explain that? I just think we need something that isn't from the 1960s. Well, MMT isn't actually all that modern. The idea is from the 1900s. It's rooted in the idea that money is a creature of law, instead of being governed by the laws of supply and demand like any other product. I think the reason you see this weird thing where people who understand the current system want MMT to be valid is because then we can have all the social programs we want. The people who you watch who understand the system probably don't like the current system. But at the end of the day, there's a reason why this theory hasn't been implemented as a framework for a national economy. Think about why governments, even in wartime, when they desperately need the money, haven't implemented a framework built on MMT. When you discuss economics, you seem to be doing that thing the bearded one used to do, with discussions about America's place in the world, where he describes things the way they are, and not the way he wanted them to be or the way they have to be. Is that right? Because every once in a while, you say something that leads me to think you might be a little more to the left than you seem as you recite how capitalism works. Yes, that sounds right. Why do you seem so certain there will be midterms? Congress just won't certify them. Congress doesn't certify the midterms. That's done at the state level. Why am I so certain? Because I don't comply in advance. Saying there won't be midterms is reducing the morale for the people you theoretically want to show up. You can't tell people to organize and simultaneously tell them that it's hopeless. So, that looks like it. A little more information, a little more context, and having the right information will make all the difference. Y'all have a good day.